Good morning, comrades. It is Monday, the 26th of April, 2021. This is your daily Good Morning, Comrade. What is going on, folks? How are we doing today? It's definitely a Monday. Definitely feeling it. Definitely kind of hurting a little bit. We might have a guest today. We'll see. I've been out to get some updates from our friend Andrea from the protests out in North Carolina. Just kind of keeping the door open for her if she does want to drop in. Hi, Anna. What is hi, Anna? What do you mean, hi, Anna? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Good morning, Jenny. I don't know what that means. No inside jokes that the streamer is not a part of. That's just the rules, okay? That's just the rules. That's just what's going on. But yeah. Could you believe that they actually did the Oscars last night? That's kind of stupid, right? Like they had movies. I mean, I guess technically movies came out this past year. I guess they technically did, but I don't know, movies without movie theaters just seems like you're trying to grasp on to something and pretend and a lot of this has happened during the pandemic. Don't not just isolating the Oscars, but the Oscars is a really high profile example. Like the idea that you're going to do something that is high, that is fundamentally a in-person experience, which is film. Like part of the whole point of film is to watch it in a theater with a bunch of people, right? And audience is part of the atmosphere and all this other stuff. And that didn't happen this year. Theaters were for the most part shut down. Movies were for the most part put on HBO Max or whatever. And he was Matt Gates. And the fact that I guess to sort of bring this into a sort of larger picture, there's been a lot of sort of observation of the forms of things that we've done like we would normally do in a normal year, and when spring rolls around, or when fall rolls around rather, kids go to school. When spring break just passed, you go out to spring break, and the impulse for people to participate in those things is, I guess, stronger than in certain cases, not in mine, not in many people's, but it's stronger than the impulse to of self-preservation in the midst of this pandemic. And now I wouldn't say that the Oscars or whatever was as dangerous as some of those other things, but I also notice that there's just this impulse to sort of pretend things, just grasp onto normality in some kind of way. And this was another example of it, which is I don't know, that makes some people, I guess, feel better about it. But I don't know, man. That makes me feel a lot it makes me feel like wow, the world is actually just a cult, and we just want to do these things because we want to do these things. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic about the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. This is not a completely well prepared, thought out sort of monologue on this. It's sort of an observation. I think it's very interesting. After this year, movies have been changed basically forever, right? They're not. I mean, whether we like it or not, the pandemic essentially introduced the idea of like going straight to a streaming service, and it's not brand new, obviously. Like it's been kind of working its way, but like the primary way that a movie or a film would get released, or documentary, et cetera, would get released is directly on the streaming service, like immediately. Like there is no option for a film, and like the idea that sort of before that was almost like a second rate, like, well, that's going to be a shitty movie. It went straight to Netflix, or straight to DVD is almost like the equivalent thought of it, right? And now that's sort of, at least for the time being, and probably permanently, at least it's the dynamic is different, right? Now, definitely in the short term, like straight to Netflix or whatever, HBO Max or whatever the hell, is like the way that you can watch movies in the midst of this thing. And on the other side of it, that's not going to go away. It's not going to just roll back on the other side. So, I don't know. It's something worth sort of like noodling on and considering. I do have a couple of stories to get to. One that I wanted to jump onto first, which I find to be very funny, but also really fucked up. So let's jump right in. Welcome aboard to everyone. Good morning, G Wolf. Good morning, Ginny. Good morning, everybody in chat. Don't feel free to jump in and say what you want to say. We're all, we're friendly here. We're having a good old time. Say hey. And yeah, so first story I want to talk about came out of the great state of Louisiana, where I live, a little bit further west in Acadiana. And guys, gals, non-binary pals watching the show right now, let me tell you, pour one out. It's so sad. The local restaurants in Acadiana are facing a hiring crisis. It's so sad. Nobody will work, says they, in the wake of COVID restrictions. This is the Acadiana business editor, hilarious, for the Advocate. So Kayla Piku went through the drive-through window at a Wendy's earlier this month in Lafayette. So this framing is very, very funny to me, by the way. Like the idea that nobody will work, like people aren't like starving, and they aren't they aren't in a worse financial position than they were before the pandemic, right? The problem is that they don't want to work for $9 an hour, $8 an hour. They don't want to work. They've made a calculation in their mind that they don't want to work for the shit wages that that restaurants in Acadiana want to pay. And so let's read. Kayla Piku went through the drive-through window at Wendy's earlier this month in Lafayette to get food for her kids and was offered a job. What? The Youngsville mother of two was taken aback at the offer, since she was only trying to go outside to get food that was left out of her order after going through the drive-through the first time. The lobby was closed, so she went back to the drive-through to get the order straightened out. Then she learned why the lobby was closed. Quote, "The manager told me, 'I'm sorry, I can't open the lobby because no one wants to work,' Piku said. And then she asked if I wanted a job. She said they'd hire anyone at this point." So that seems to be like, if you're like desperate to hire somebody, you're a manager, you would think that if you're desperate to hire people, you would pay them more, right? Well, let's see. The lack of employees at Wendy's was no fluke. Quick serve restaurants in Acadiana and across the country are facing severe hiring crisis as the number of applicants has dried up. Now, these are shitty jobs. I will say this. These are very, very shitty jobs. I've worked at a Burger King back when I was in high school. It is extremely hard work. Very, very hard. And they were both corporate dens, by the way, G Wolf. I'll talk about it in a little bit. They work very, very hard. And yeah, it's just sort of ridiculous that we sort of treat fast food workers specifically, but like most service workers, like garbage and pay them so little. So let's just throw that out there, and then you add on the pandemic. The sort of contours of the pandemic, then you got a real problem, right? The lack of employees at Wendy's was no fluke. Quick serve restaurants, yeah. Now restaurants in Louisiana are allowed full capacity. Jesus Christ! Following months of restrictions related to the coronavirus pandemic, the issue has become magnified. At the Wendy's, the staffing shortage has forced the franchise, Georgia-based WenStar, to close all dining areas in its 5 Lafayette area stores. People are not showing up for work, said Bobby Dunning, WenStar's vice president of operations. We've done everything we've been able to do. We're constantly looking to hire people. We have to take care of the people that are there. If we have to keep the dining room closed to keep the pressure off people we have there, then that's what we're going to do. The reason? Many point to increased unemployment. This is the part of this article which tells you like that this is being written by the Acadiana business editor. This person is like literally giving the perspective of business. The reason many point to increased unemployment benefits and recent stimulus payments. How prevalent that is anyone's guess, but others in the industry are now throwing anything and everything, including higher wages, at the problem as customers are returning to dine in restaurants. Let's see how much higher those wages are. Restaurants nationwide reported a 32% increase in total sales last month, according to a QSR magazine report. Quote, "It's brutal," said Adam Diamond, CEO of ADT Pizza, which operates 26 Pizza Hut's locations, and many of which could in Acadiana, many of which could use 3 or 4 more workers. Nobody will work. We're pulling out all the tricks. We're spending more money on recruiting than we have before. We're switching from consumer marketing to job marketing. We hired a recruiting firm for the first time. We're increasing pay. If people ask for more money, we give them more money. So he's saying that, but let's see. It sounds good. Like the frame. So basically, if restaurants are making 32% more, that means that workers, even if you have less of those workers, then you're producing 32% more in profits too. By the way, mind that part. So if the raise is less than 32%, then you're literally just cutting that off the top of what the workers make. Big incentives. The Shrimp Basket, an Alabama chain of seafood restaurants, made the biggest splash in history this week. It is offering new hires and employees who recommend a new hire a chance to win a new car. The biggest splash in history is a sweepstakes for a car. Hilarious. So many others are offering incentives that it's almost become. That sounds like something you would do, by the way, instead of giving more money. A chance at a new car. So many others are offering incentives that it's almost become an arms race. At Half Shell Oyster House, the Mississippi-based seafood and steak restaurant with the location in Lafayette, company officials recently raised its minimum wage to $12 an hour for all non-tipped employees and are offering up to $500 in bonus money for referring to an employee to join the company. So, like, not quite a living wage, but we're offering more money. We'll offer you more money. That's fine. Oh yeah. Each of its 14 locations could use another 7 to 10 people, and said company VP Kevin Fish. I'll be honest, I'm a very conservative person, but I think it's actually within conservative values to take care of people that work for you, Fish said. $12 an hour, folks. I think we have a custodial responsibility to care for them. Finding workers, has been a struggle. We haven't had the struggles that some other places have had, but it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, very hard for you, I'm sure. RPM Pizza, which owns the 10 Domino's pizza locations in the Lafayette area, is offering signing bonuses for drivers who stay on a certain amount of time, with a $250 bonus for any team member who recruits a driver who stays for 60 days. Some look $200 for 60 days, $250 for 60 days. That's like a very tiny bounty, if you ask me. Some locations recruiting manager Sarah Smoot said are even offering a free pizza for simply showing up to an interview. I mean, like that's like donuts in the break room. In the Lafayette market, it could hire at least 90 employees right now. She said, maybe more. We definitely have seen a reduction in applications, Smoot said. We've had to adjust to trying to find out new and creative ways to get applicants inside the door. And once we get them in the door, get them in for an interview. We have some applicants not showing up for interviews. Right. Yeah. CEO bonus time. Kurgan Brothers Sonic, which operates 6 Sonic locations in Lafayette, like literally, did this guy just go to the Chamber of Commerce and say, like, okay, folks, what do you want to talk about? Kurgan Brothers Sonic, which operates 6 Sonic locations in Lafayette and 50 others in Louisiana, could use as many as 10 more workers at every store, company president Gary Wilkerson said. It recently raised its starting wage to $8. It raised its wage to $8. So the minimum wage in Louisiana is $7.25. You're like going just up to the next closest dollar and saying, like, look at that, we raised our wages all the way up to $8, which is like half of a living wage. And employee evaluations are done more than once a year with a chance to get a raise. It's also, so basically they're using like the possibility of a raise to kind of keep more of an eye on workers. Nice. It's also common for the company to provide workers with cookies or cake, donuts in the break room. New employees can get a 75. When I was a kid, you could eat for a week off of $8. Yeah. Current and new employees can get a $75 as part of the company's referral program. Quote, staffing is everything to us, Wilkerson said. We're just not getting a lot of applications. This issue didn't just happen. It's exaggerated right now, but staffing in our industry has been in a bit of a decline for a couple of years. You can go back to last March when things really started. Staffing really got challenging in March and April of last year, and it hasn't stopped. Everybody is trying to find the same person. So, like, again, maybe if you wanted to hire more workers, you would go to higher than $8 for your job, for your pay, for your base level pay. Some online job postings for positions or Lafayette area restaurants include bonuses. Bonton Grill is seeking a grill cook include a $100 signing bonus. A listing for Saltgrass Steakhouse offered $250 in bonus history. You know what? Let's go scoop those signing bonuses and then just quit, right? The problem. See, this is where they're going to blame the stimulus again. The stimulus that literally people needed to survive. Respondents for this story and others nationally almost consistently point to the same issues: the federal unemployment benefits and the recent federal stimulus checks. So, like, what those things should be doing, by the way, they should be driving up wages. Like, that is those programs operating as they should. Like, the idea, especially unemployment, right? Unemployment means that if you get, fired from your job, or if you can't work for any specific reason, that's not you just like quitting, which, I think that's too restrictive. You should be able to quit your job. But like, that means that you get paid for a certain amount of time, a percentage of what you would have made. So that means that when you are not working, you're not like put in the position where you have to take a, minimum wage job or worse. So, like, if they're complaining about this, if the bosses are complaining about this, good. That's great. That's fantastic. They're not supposed to like this program. If bosses are like upset that the unemployment program is too high, raise your fucking wages. The $300 for weekly federal unemployment stacked up on top. See, they're complaining about not having like cheap labor. They're not complaining about people who like literally don't want to work. They're complaining that people don't want to work for peanuts. The $300 federal unemployment stacked on top of a state benefit that maxes out at $247 is enough to so $500 a week. That's like barely enough to keep. I mean, if you have a family, if you have things that you have to pay for, rent, electricity, car insurance, which has gone up this year. Yeah, this is a $547 is not like a ton of money. It's enough to convince displaced workers to stay on the sidelines, company leaders claimed. Stimulus checks for at least $1,400 as part of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package may have also kept people at home instead of working. That's good. Right now, we're still in the midst of a pandemic. Even like we have what's the vaccination rate in Louisiana? And like $1,400 is way less than people should have gotten from the stimulus check from Joe Biden. Like that is ridiculously low. So if you're complaining that was too high, you're literally just deciding that where's the vaccination rate? You've just decided that any amount coming from the federal government is too much. And people having anything and they're not entirely like hand to mouth. Like the fact that that's the case means that that's a problem for you and you're against it. So fuck you. Where is the Louisiana vaccination rate? Why can't I find this? Does anybody have that information? It's not easy to find, is it? Track data. Okay. Let's see. Initiated 1.5 million vaccines. Total doses administered 2.5 million. Where's just to give me a percentage? So, regardless. Anyway, they're complaining about people being like at home instead of working. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You don't need people out working right now. You should be paying them to stay home. And if you're complaining about that, you're the problem. I think stimulus payments and unemployment benefits are necessary, Diamond said. They put money in their pockets, and they're able to take care of their kids. But I think people who are not making a lot of money take a break. A lot of people who say, screw it, when they get those stimulus checks. Good. That's good. Like the idea that you have to be working every single day of your entire life to survive is actually a fairly insane and also a fairly like cruel standard, right? Like you deserve breaks, you deserve vacations, and also like this isn't a break or vacation. We're literally trying to stop the spread of a global pandemic here. So yeah, no. We get a lot of applications, but not a lot of follow through. If you're on unemployment benefits, you have to apply for jobs and show you're applying for jobs. We'll get 50 people apply for a driver job, but like one person will call back. That's your problem, dude. If you eliminated the application requirement for unemployment, you would have to deal with all those applications. So shut up. Still, the number of restaurant jobs nationwide continues to bounce back. The QSR report indicated that restaurants added 175,000 jobs in March, lower than 309 in February. But the industry has brought back 4.2 million since. Okay, just a bunch of like numbers thrown at the thing. Here's another quote. Okay, I do believe that so he thinks that kids are going to save them from like not having jobs. Yeah, well, hire children, which they always want to do child labor, of course. And now he's crying about Wendy's that close. Yeah, so garbage. Like obviously, pay better. Stop complaining about your poor businesses that are falling apart or whatever. This is like literally. This article is literally just an attack on unemployment, and it's basically saying, well, the poor is lazy, is what this is about. So, yeah, this is a garbage article. This is trash. So yeah, what's good for 23% fully vaccinated? Where'd you find that information? That's pretty good, actually. It's more than I thought it would be. I mean, it's not as high as I want it to be. There are some sections. I know Orleans is getting like more and more, like they've figured it out. Jefferson Parish has a pretty good program. I don't know how many people have like actually taken the vaccine, but 23% of Louisiana sounds pretty good. For most people, by the way, that $1,400, and I just want to throw this part out there too. Like a lot of that went to back rent to pay for stuff that like already they like stuff that they owed essentially, because we had gone such a long time without the ability to pay for that stuff. So whatever, it is what it is. Like that is literally just the businesses doing PR. Like that's actually disgusting reporting. Speaking of disgusting reporting, let's talk about the woke mob, folks. And guess who is now the newest and worstest member of the woke mob? You'll never believe it, folks. You will never believe it. You'll never believe who is like going out there and doing some canceling. And not only that, the poor person who's being canceled. Here is the National Labor Relations Board is the woke mob, folks. And it is embracing cancel culture. And guess who the poor sweet victim is? Who's the poor sweet victim? Well, of course it's Elon Musk. Of course it's Elon Musk. Very, very sad. You hate to see people, get canceled over, certain things like violating labor laws, violating the NLRA, enforcing the law that the National Labor Relations Board is literally there to do. So let's take a look at what this says. National Labor Relations Board embraces cancel culture. They're trying to cancel culture, folks. The National Labor Relations Board recently declared that Elon Musk violated federal law with this tweet, quote, "Nothing stopping Tesla team at our car plant from voting union. Could do so tomorrow if they wanted. But why pay union dues and give up stock options for nothing? Our safety record is 2 times better than what plant was UAW, and everybody already gets health care." So the operative part of this tweet that is literally breaking the law, like it is literally, because an owner can't just say, if you start a union, we'll take away a benefit, right? But if you look right here, he says, why pay union dues and give up stock options for nothing? That's like a veiled threat to say, like, oh, if you start a union, we're going to take away your stock options. It's just that simple. So this guy thinks that Ethan Blevins thinks that's a bad thing that this is out there, that the National Labor Relations Board is enforcing the law. The agency's Twitter fixation appears to be a growing trend. Earlier this year, the NLRB also prosecuted The Federalist, a conservative online magazine, because its publisher, Ben Domenech, posted this tweet poking fun at Vox Media when it was dealing with labor walkouts. Quote, FYI, at Federalist, first one of you tries to unionize, I'll swear I send you back to the salt mine. So literally, like, this is a threat to say, if you try and start a union at my shitty newspaper, then I'm going to fire your ass. So, like, that is literally directly saying, if you start a union, there will be a consequence. That is a clear violation of the NLRA. So, like, if the NLRB doesn't act on that, then it's a problem. So this is back to the article. The agency's henpecking over social media commentary reeks of viewpoint discrimination and will tilt public debate on labor policy towards unions. What are you talking about, dude? Like, by addressing, so like, if you're an employer, if you're a boss, and you're saying, if you unionize, even if you're joking or whatever, if you're saying, if you unionize, then we'll punish you, like, that has an effect. That has a union busting effect. You cannot do that. Anyway, the article goes on. According to the NLRB, these brief Twitter snippets, likely fired off in a matter of seconds with a set of thumbs and directed at the entire world, constitute, quote, unfair labor practices. Under federal labor law, an employer, quote, cannot interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of their rights to unionize. This includes a, quote, threat of reprisal for joining or attempting to join a union. And that is what the board concluded here. Musk and Domenech had threatened employers via tweets. So yeah, that is exactly what they did. In both of those cases, they say, if you start a union, we're going to do something to you. So, I mean, pretty cut and dry. The NLRB can only reach such a conclusion by willfully misinterpreting these tweets and ignoring the nature of social media. Oh, that's right. Musk, according to the agency, had threatened to strip employees of their stock options in this tweet when he asked, why pay union dues and give up stock options for nothing? Yes, that is what he did. That's exactly what he did. But even a passing glance at the comment reveals his meaning. When asked directly in the thread if he was threatening employee stock options, Musk said no. He had just been pointing out the union negotiated compensation packages at other car plants didn't include stock options, so unionizing could risk losing that benefit. The board ignored this clarifying remark, concluding that Musk had threatened the staff himself. Yes, because if you're saying that in negotiations, we will actually put the thing that you already have on the table, then you're literally doing a threat. So like he basically, and also the thing like, Elon Musk, did you just violate labor law? What is he supposed to say? Yes. Did you just violate the law? Yes. Like, were you expecting him to say that? No, of course not. The board's misinterpretation of Domenech's sarcastic quip about sending his employees, quote, back to the salt mine is even more preposterous. It turns out the Federalist owns no salt mine. This motherfucker literally is saying that, like, this can't be a real threat because they don't actually own salt mines. The Federalist owns no salt mines and has around 7 employees. At least 2 employees weighed in during NLRB proceedings to confirm that they realized the tweet was a joke. No matter, the Federalist faces a federal order demanding that senior staff no longer make jokes about unions. Oh no, wow, it sounds like they're really getting canceled here. Really getting canceled here because of they like basically said they got a stern like talking to from the NLRB saying that you can't make these kinds of bullshit jokes anymore. Jokes. Context aside, there is an even more obvious reason that these tweets are not threats. Their authors publish them to the world at large. Villains usually crack their knuckles in dark alleys, not on stage. If Musk and Dominic really meant to threaten their employees in any way, public tweets are an odd way to go about it. So what this motherfucker's saying is that like you can't threaten your workers like while like he's literally like these jokes have like a double meaning, right? They're supposed to be a message to their workers to say like we're don't do a union or whatever, but like they're trying to pass them off as jokes. Oh, look at me, Ben Domenech or Elon Musk, the quirky bosses over at these Tesla and the Federalists. We're making yucks for public relations and trying to posture for their anti-union position. Let's see here. If Musk and Domenech really meant to threaten their employees in any way, public tweet, it isn't difficult to see through the NLRB's thin excuses for suppressing speech. The board doesn't want a public policy debate that might persuade someone that unionization is not in the best interest of workers. One might hope that the National Labor Relations Board would favor the airing of a wide range of viewpoints on labor policy. Yeah. Yeah. But why won't the NLRB like platform union busting? Like that's a big problem, right? Why is it closing off that particular perspective? This is a viewpoint. This is the marketplace of ideas. Okay. Yeah. Literally the next sentence. A well-rounded marketplace of ideas better educates the public. So like why can't you have the union busters perspective? Why can't you like do that? But the board evidently is not interested in a marketplace of ideas. Instead, it appears dedicated to cultivating a rigged debate where any employer will think twice before hammering out a quick tweet about labor policy or educating the public about the possible consequences of unionization. Yeah, if you start a union, I might break the law. The result is a debasement of First Amendment values and a marketplace deprived of a crucial viewpoint on labor policy that affects their livelihood. Wow. Well, I'm convinced, we really should let like union busters do union busting like live in 4K on twitter.com. That's really a great idea. Like that is the only thing that like these motherfuckers care about. They're like literally using like the veneer of free speech, literally using the sort of like woke mob cancel culture language to fucking talk about like why you like to essentially defend union busters. Like that's literally what this is. Like if you don't think that Elon Musk like saying that if you start a union, we're going to take away your stock options, like isn't union busting, like isn't literally threatening your employees not to unionize, then I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. Like the idea, like literally, if you have a benefit and you threaten to like roll that benefit back if you do something, that is a threat. That is literally against the goddamn law. And like, I'm not saying that like the NLRB is perfect. I'm not saying that the NLRA is perfect. I'm not saying that these institutions are going to save us. But like the fact that there is some kind of like trivial, it's trivial the amount of like repercussions have gotten, by the way. Like literally the only thing that was written here is I think Elon Musk ended up getting fined for this tweet. But I don't think that there was anything that like I don't think that there's anything like horrible that happened in the Federalist. No, it was just hit with a complaint. And then the article says, "Oh, it was prosecuted. We were prosecuted. We were put in front of a judge and had to defend ourselves for breaking the goddamn law." So there you go. The SEC is going to get tired of Elon Musk and come for him, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. I doubt that because billionaires do whatever the fuck they want. So like, I would be surprised if anybody came for Elon Musk top damage wizard. I hope you're right, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it looks like Arizona is doing another recount. Why? They're doing another recount of the 2020 election. Why the fuck? Like, seriously. Oh, more Elon Musk. Y'all, have y'all had enough of your fix of Elon Musk? Because I got some more. I got a lot of more Elon Musk, folks. I got a lot of more Elon Musk. Here's Elon Musk talking about how a bunch of people will die going to Mars. Also, like, what the fuck? Like, Elon Musk is going to host Saturday Night Live? Like, what's going on here? What is going on with this motherfucker? Bruh, what the hell? Is this a troll? Here's Elon Musk's SNL opening monologue as redacted by the SEC. What does this mean? Unlike most celebrities tapped to host SNL, Elon Musk won't just phone it in. He'll autopilot it in. The bar may not have been very high for... Okay, yeah, we know SNL sucks. I'm Elon Musk. Thank you. Oh, okay. It's a ha funny joke, I guess. But yeah, he's entirely redacted because of the SEC. That's. Wait, this is real? Wait, what? It's all just blacked out. Wow, that's ridiculous. A bunch of people will die on the way to Mars. Let's read this. There's been a lot of talk about how SpaceX will be spending its first manned mission to Mars by 2025 or 2026 at the latest, and how this would pave the way to colonizing the planet. Humanity needs to become a multi-planetary species, Musk believes, but it will come at a cost. The cost will be the loss of human life above everything else. Not that it should surprise anyone, but these missions will be high on danger. He's basically lowering the bar here to say, like, yeah, of course, we don't need to like make sure that the workers are safe. SNL has 2.5 minutes of funny material every hour some weeks. I mean, that's being generous, I think. No, him on the show, I knew he was on the show is real. That version of the monologue or whatever was bullshit, obviously. I mean, that was really weird. That I guess it was Market Watch trying to be funny. Like Market Watch is the fucking Onion or something like that. I don't know. Or as Musk himself says in a recent chat with Peter Diamandis. Stop, Sam. He's scratching up my chair. Founder of the X Prize Foundation. A bunch of people will probably die in the beginning. The chat took place on April 22nd, which was Earth Day. Which, by the way, like the one day you should be saying fuck Mars more than any day, and focus mostly on what man needs to do to cut down on carbon emissions before it's too late. Musk took part in it because of his vested interest in the topic, and discussed the Mars missions only in reference to how rockets have very high carbon footprints. You haven't watched SNL since Dana Carvey? Nice. The space-related bit starts at around the 8:38-minute mark. Okay, let's watch the video. Let's see what he has to say. Let's look at this, what this freaking jerk has to say. All right, hold on. Why can't I hear anything? What the hell?
Add carbonic acid to the oceans and change the pH level because it destroys reefs and all that. So,
which it's actively doing right now as we're watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look at this barefoot motherfucker. Like, I'm usually fine with like I'm generally a barefoot is legal type, but like the fact that you're doing an interview at your weird palatial estate, like what seems to be the middle of a jungle. No, put some shoes on, dude.
Yes. So this is a problem.
I'm now anti barefoot.
No, I remember when I first met you, Elon. It was about 2000, and I remember you had two massively transformative missions. It was one making humanity interplanetary. Yeah. And the second was bringing us to a sustainable economy. Yeah. A sustainable energy economy.
Right. Exactly.
And I think you've done pretty damn good. Are you happy with the progress you've made?
Just completely like suck his entire dick and balls. Like, why don't you just like lick his entire body up and down and make sure you get the tank? Like, seriously.
Yeah, I think it's hard to complain. This part, the outcome so far has been great. Although obviously, we've not yet sent anyone to Mars, and hopefully we'll in the future. And in fact, just a few days ago, or late last week, I guess, NASA awarded SpaceX a contract.
Awesome, $2.9 billion. For the next,
Jesus Christ, they just gave Elon Musk $2.9 billion to do space programs when NASA could literally do that itself for cheaper. Like,
lunar lander.
Yeah, so a SpaceX craft will be the next craft to put humans on the moon. I believe the first human will be a woman actually this time.
Yes.
So this is great.
Yeah.
But of course we have to actually do it. And then tomorrow we've got the our third astronaut launch to the space station.
Before we dive into the carbon removal rules and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a bit of a dichotomy because our rockets do produce carbon.
True.
Like, oh, what a hypocrite.
True. No.
He's obviously just in for the money.
But let's talk about.
This is a very hard-hitting interview if I've ever seen one. This guy is really, really raking Elon Musk over the coals to get the hard answers from him.
Let's talk about the Crew 2 mission.
Let's talk about all of the amazing things you do, Elon. Let's make wow, you're doing really great decarbonization programs and getting billions of dollars from the government to do it. I'm in awe of you.
Aren't you being a hypocrite by launching rockets that produce carbon? Here's the problem is right now there's really no way to get around the physics of a rocket. So I think it's important for the long-term preservation and ultimately the expansion and extension of the scope and scale of consciousness and the long-term probability of survival of humanity and life as we know it. We must become a multi-planet species because there are all these risks that we can't control.
Existential risks.
There's all these
asteroid strikes.
Risks. Yeah. There's like
super volcanoes.
We could do we could have a World War III or something. There's.
He's just literally making up sci-fi like in his head, and he's basically saying like that's going to be reality. Like he's just basically saying, oh yeah, super volcanoes, World War III, shit like that.
Like I'm optimistic about the future, but you can also say like, okay, well, so how long do you think civilization will last before there's a catastrophic event? If you say infinity, this is not correct.
Yes.
Okay. This is not. History does not suggest that. History just suggests we do dumb things to civilizations all the time.
Yeah,
You know,
you do dumb things to civilizations all the time, like give billions of dollars to Elon Musk so that he can make giant toy rockets to blast off into space. You're right. He is right about that.
And you know, the ancient Egyptians, the Romans, ancient Romans, where are they now? Let's do the video series. Where are they now?
Yes.
The Babylonians, Sumerians.
What a dumb, like, this dude
you know?
is so fucking stupid. Like, it's actually jaw-dropping when you actually watch a video of Elon Musk and like hear how dumb he is. Like Ginny says, honestly, guys, I've never heard him speak before. He sounds even dumber than his quotes. Yeah, this dude is like an actual man baby who just essentially gets to do whatever he wants because he's always had, his parents owned a fucking diamond mine in South Africa, and he just gets to be like Jimmy Neutron as an adult.
So there's been many civilizations that have risen and fallen, and anyway, we got to preserve. We got to become multiplanetary, and right now the only way to do that is with rockets that do burn fuel. But we do have a long-term plan for sustainability of even rocket flights by generating propellant using sustainable energy, wind and solar, to generate, starting first with liquid oxygen. And for our Starship vehicle, it's almost 80% liquid oxygen, and 20% liquid methane. And the oxygen, it's obviously pretty easy to create that. You just use wind and solar electricity, and you do air separator because you've got the oxygen already in the air. The plants are making the oxygen, so you can just use electricity, basically renewable electricity, to create 80% of the propellant on the rocket. And then for the remaining 20%, you can use the Sabatier process, where you take. All right,
where's the part where all the people are going to die?
And you combine that with water to create CH4 and more O2.
Yep.
And that's in fact what we would do on Mars.
Sure.
To generate propellant.
Sure.
So there is a long-term plan for sustainable generation of propellant for the rockets. I do want to emphasize that. And if there's some other way to do that now, we certainly would.
Yeah.
But I'm
Ginny.
Trying to sort of address this apparent inconsistency in if generating carbon is bad, why are you doing that with rockets?
Yeah. And listen, I think it's a moral imperative for the human race to be able to move off Earth while we have the opportunity. Everything we know is...
This interviewer is awful. Like, he literally is just basically saying, oh, yes, all of the things that you're suggesting that we need to do are absolutely necessary.
Here.
And just because it's not to just one of the other criticisms, sometimes feels like, oh, is this some escape hatch for rich people? No, they think it's like, so.
Did you expect him to say yes to his own stupid ass question? Oh, yeah. So is this an escape hatch for rich people? Of course not. I would never do an escape hatch for rich people. And if I did, I would tell you, honestly, believe me.
Going to Mars reads like that ad for Shackleton.
Actually, it's more likely they would just blast poor people out into space than they would just like make it an escape hatch for rich people. Honestly, I think that's more likely.
The Antarctic, it's dangerous. It's uncomfortable. It's a long journey. You might not, come back alive. But it's a glorious adventure, and it'll be amazing. An amazing experience.
And your name will go in history. Yes,
you might not. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you probably won't have good food, and all these things, So if an arduous and dangerous journey where you may not come back alive, but it's a glorious adventure, sounds appealing.
And
Mars is the place.
And you still have thousands of...
Wouldn't it be lovely to die for my stupid fucking project? Is what he's saying.
Volunteers, if not millions of volunteers, who would want to go.
I mean,
millions of people would be happy to die for my vision. Like, this is evil villain shit right here. This is like I don't want to say like Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor is smart. This dude's stupid. Like, I can't think of maybe like Lex Luthor from the movies, like the Gene Hackman one, the goofy one.
Honestly, a bunch of people probably will die in the beginning. It's tough sledding over there.
We're an exploring species.
Yeah, exactly. Not for everybody. We don't want to make anyone go. So it's it's volunteers only.
Or maybe like a villain from The Tick. Y'all remember The Tick? Maybe he's like Chairface Chippendale. Like, he would just write his fucking name on the moon or try to do that.
You have a a Dragon capsule on the pad. Crew 2 is nominally. Are you still go for launch tomorrow?
Yeah.
Awesome. You
All
want
right,
to
enough
just
of
spend
this.
2 minutes?
This is stupid. Like Elon Musk is ridiculous. Like, I can't keep watching. Like, I might have to watch like more of this later, but I don't know. Something's really off about this guy. This isn't the top 10 worst thing he's ever said. I'm sure you could find some quote from NASA saying that if we send people to Mars right now, it's a one-way trip. I mean, that's basically what he said in his comment, that like they lied about this article lied about where it was. Because I was looking in there, and he basically said, yeah, a bunch of people are going to die on their way to Mars. So I mean, like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, we pay him money to do it. Yeah, that's true. The problem is, like, in movies and shit, like the villains like just don't need to be villains. If they just frame themselves as like friends of the government or whatever, or like friends of or just like upstanding billionaires, they could just do whatever they want. And anytime they got exposed for doing their illegal shit, they would just never get in trouble. Anyway, that's gonna have to be it for the show. You should check out our Patreon to support our show. Patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade. We're also doing a very special interview tonight. We're having on Ben Burgess. He's been multiple time guest on the show. He's got a brand new book out called Canceling Comedians While the World Burns. It's about the NLRB, I think. It's about the NLRB enforcing the law on Elon Musk and Ben Domenech, the big sad victims. We're going to start at 9 Central tonight, I think. That's what at the time I told Ben. And 9 Central. Robert, I'll shoot you the link later if you can come on, and we can see if we can get more of the crew. But yeah, and we're going to probably run that one tomorrow as well. So yeah, Good Morning Comrade is going to be going into the night. And we're going to have, like I said, Ben Burgess on. And yeah, patreon.com/Good Morning Comrade, goodmorningcomrade.com. I am going to drop the link to Above It All, which is coming up next. Right now, actually. Andrea, our friend, has been good evening, comrade. Our friend Andrea is doing a show for she's been covering the protests out in North Carolina for the death of Andrew Brown, the police murder of Andrew Brown. Check it out. She's been doing some really great on the ground coverage. So yeah, have a good one. Bye, everybody.